Hello, hello. Hopefully everybody can hear me. It's slightly frozen on my screen. I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but hello. I hope everyone is doing really, really well. Whenever my camera decides it wants to catch up, then we will from there. But hopefully you're all keeping really, really well, everybody. Yeah, how is everyone? Can you see me yet? I can't see myself, which is a very weird thing, and it's frozen from when I was clearly setting this earlier. So that's fun. But yeah, hi everybody. I hope you're all doing really, really well. We are here. We're in Booker season, and let's see how that all goes. But yeah, International Booker Prize should hopefully launch. We'll have our winner very, very soon. But yes, I hope it is going really well. Can people see me, by the way? Because yeah, from what I can see, it is frozen on a picture from like this afternoon when I was setting it up. Which is also unfortunate because I'm topless in the picture, which is not great. But anyway, yes. Hi, everybody. I can see we've got Rudy in the chat. Hello, hello. What are we thinking? Small boat perfection or under the eye? Hello, Anne, as well. Oh, okay. That's okay. It's interesting that at least it's dark, so I'm visible, but I cannot see myself, which is a wild thing. I don't know what it's doing camera-wise. Let me fiddle about in the background and try and change my settings. It's like saying dim. Okay. Huh. Why are we being on this camera? What's this camera doing? It is quite a dark room, so that's probably not helping. But there we go. Hopefully, at least I'm visible, at least if not to myself. But hi, people who are joining. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, fab. I'm apparently visible now. I'm not sure if I've done anything different. I don't know why it's doing that. I still can't see myself. If I move around, maybe at some point my camera will decide that it's going to catch up with reality. Who knows? Let me see just in the background if I can just change what I can see, because I am not visible to myself currently, which is great fun. Anyway, who knows? Yes, hello everybody. Glad to see everyone, even if I cannot yet see myself. So apologies if there are things in the background, because I won't know that they're there. And that's all good. But we are here in the moment for this. It's been an interesting year, I think. I've sort of said recently as well, I have been a real fan of this shortlist and long list, actually. Sometimes it's really nice where you and the judges overlap in some big way, and it doesn't always happen. But when it does, it's quite special. So we shall see what that all looks like. But I really loved this. I'm really glad to see what people are saying in the chat there, that this is such a range. So Under the Eye been a kind of quiet favorite for a lot of people, where I think it's the one that nobody really expected from going into it, as in a book that I think on the surface, when you hear about what the book is about, it doesn't quite sound like it makes a lot of sense. And you start reading it, it sort of still doesn't make sense, but its own special thing, and is quite beautiful in its own way. My personal favorites, if you can see the camera, are my personal favorite is probably On the Calculation of Volume, and I just finished the second volume of this today, which I adored, and I am fully here for all 7, I think it will be, books. So we may well see Solveig Bala come back multiple times in future International Booker Prize long lists and shortlists, hopefully. And yeah, that apart from that, my favorite is probably Perfection. Small Boat, I really love. I just really like this shortlist. I think the leopard skin hat is just a really took me by surprise by just how tender and point that book is, because it leaves so much space. It's quite quiet and just sort of does its own little thing, but it's so quietly devastating, I think. I think Big Bird is quiet in its own way, but it's also quite bombastic and is a bit bizarre and off the wall. What else does that leave? Heartlamp. which I thought really, even though I think it's less consistent, maybe because the stories are written over such a long period of time, I think there's something really beautiful about the way they hold together. Um, is really great. Let's see what people are saying. Who have we got? Hi, everybody. Yes, thank you. It's good to see Charlie stream with Charlie and Jem. Live stream heavy kind of evening for me. All really good fun. Hiya, Hira. Hello. This is for joining. As I just witter on in the interim before we find out the read by this, because I think last year it felt a bit more divided in the sense that a few people really didn't get along with some of the favourites like Kairos or what have you. And this year, I think people seem to, generally speaking, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, seem to read like a lot of the books, or have a few that they are really rooting for as well. Amelia, I really agree with your point. I think Calculation of Volume 2 is stronger, which makes me really optimistic, because I'm hoping that these just continue to get better and better. I think this is such a brilliant concept for a book and a series. Where is it? Yeah, Calculation of Volume 1. The thing I found so striking was that we are learning about the variations of days, but I thought the book itself would lean into that a bit more and be quite repetitive, as a kind of, having recurrent thoughts or whatever. But the book actually picks up, which is really quite special. In the same way, I think Volume 2, where she, without spoiling anything, decides to travel more, whereas in the first book she's very much rooted to the place and is trying to understand local rhythms. The second book, I think, does some really exciting things towards all these other avenues of what's around her, of going to different different seasons. And so I just think it's such an interesting idea, really. I've been really encouraged by how many people have loved Calculation. I think Calculation probably has the strongest chance, personally, although I also think Small Boat maybe cuts through really differently, because Small Boat feels like it has state of the world. Not to say the other books don't, but in some ways Small Boat has the most direct with what's happening now, I think. And tip things in that book's favor. I also think it's so brilliantly done with the point of view and the reference. But to have a book where you are hearing the thoughts of someone who's quite objectionable throughout a lot of the book, but you also see of humanity breaking through as well. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see the rest of the comments. So, Joseph, yes, I managed to read 12 out of 13, and my top 3 all made the shortlist. It's always a worry when you read the short, the long list, and all your favourites are on the long list and not on the short list. That has happened a few times. Part of me still gutted that Solenoid isn't here to be with the rest of the books, but and the Book of Disappearance. I think both of them were so strong, with a really great shortlist. Perfection, yeah, that's true, Rudy. Perfection also has a lot of resonance with right now, about this kind of not middle class, well, maybe a bit middle class, but kind of young ennui, sort of millennial ennui. I think is such a, and I think is such a brilliant book. It's probably one of my personal, it is one of my personal favorites from this list as well. I think genuinely, this is I've got 3 books that I'm really strongly rooting for, and would not mind the other 3. That feels like a great position to be in. Whereas there have definitely been some years, National Booker, because I think that's a fairly safe one typically, but for other prizes where I'm looking at the final 6 books or whatever, and I don't really have a strong drive for any of them to win. I'm sort of vaguely for one. Let's see what other people are saying. I couldn't get my hands on Small Boat or Heartlamp, unfortunately, but I really loved all the others. I also read the rest of the long list. Madness. Oh, okay, yes, actually, after everything that I've just said, for me the weak one on the long list. I really get into that. Yeah, that one. I'd be intrigued because I never really saw that many people fully loving that book. So yeah, I'm intrigued by that. For anybody who did love it, I'd love to hear. But yes, let's see the rest. Yeah, listen, super strong shortlist, so I don't envy the judges having to pick a winner. Exactly that. As some of you may know, I'm currently judging a book prize, and being a judge for a prize like the International Booker this year is a great thing because literally pick any of them and you've got a great winner. But the idea of actually choosing one is great. Oh yes, Karina, yeah, Hunchback. I was trying to think what other ones I'd forgotten. I thought was really so innovative and wild. And I read Crowded Plane and regretted that because really intense sex scene, and I was very aware that everyone could see as the kind of the and my Kindle light flashed up that they were able all of that. That was fun. Mav, my absolute top 3 did not even make it to the shortlist. So Hunchback, Book of Disappearance, Reservoir Bitches. Oh, Reservoir Bitches was really fun as well. I thought that was such a bold and brilliant piece of writing. I think I'm too close to the content of perfection to be able to love it as much as you do. I think if you've got a strong relationship to Berlin or live there, then the idea of the housing issue, the housing crisis, perfection is probably a bit probably not everyone's favorite. I do love it. And Rudy, yes, the book prize judging is going well, thank you. I almost all arrived now, almost all my books, and I think it's about 60, which is nothing compared to what the International Booker judges have done, which I think like 80 to 100, and I think the Booker is about with Dread, because about 20 or 30 books in, when more books were still arriving for the Plurry Prize reading, I did wonder what on earth, and if I'd made a terrible mistake. Luckily, quite a few have come in that have been either very or that I've read already, and that's been great. But yeah, and about I think all in all, it'll be about 3 months from the first books arriving to having to have a decision to have some thoughts on most of them, which is quite a lot. I don't really know how the Booker judges do it because I'm already struggling to keep some of the books straight of those 60 plus the ones I'd already previously. So there we go. That's fun. It is enjoyable. I do. It's quite a bizarre experience, even with my Booker reading. It's quite bizarre to really have a deadline of such a large number of books. Rudy, very important question. Do you need to give them back? And I was planning on giving them out to people, and like offer them to some friends if I'm allowed to reveal what was submitted. Anyway, we are just under 2 minutes away from the winner announcement. This is now the time where we all start refreshing the page and for the Booker Prize to see if we last scores on the doors. What are people thinking? The only one I'd be surprised winning this time would maybe be Heartlamp. I don't think it's a bad book. I just think there are 5 really strong books in this list with it, and I think Heartlamp for me doesn't have that last little over the finishing line. That said, it's been shortlisted, so clearly it's really loved. It there. I personally, I think it's maybe between Calculation and Small Boat, with Big Bird as maybe an outsider on that. I'm happy to be proven wrong on any and all of this. Let's see, let's keep on updating. I think Small Boat will probably final decision with Calculation second. See, I'm just refreshing the page in the background. 10. They're sometimes not always immediately, but there's a little video playing, which I'm going to just keep. Yeah, I think Karina, exactly as you say, Small Boat important, and I'd be happy for it to win. I think that's kind of it. I think that's why he is going to release 5 more. There will be Whereas there's something really urgent and pressing about Small Boat in this time is really quite special. Right, so the live stream is literally about to start for them. I've just got we're getting some very lovely tables. Yes, elevator music going on. The fun thing is because I've got this on silent, so I don't know what music they're playing. But I love that there's I love the table setting for this year. I think that's been really fun. There's this kind of almost looks like it's about to set up a murder mystery. Well, it's obviously not, but like, I do love the idea that background of all of this there's something else going on, that suddenly, you know, Anton Her and Max Porter will sort of be trying, you know, will be other or something. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping a winner than that, but I really love that idea of a little murder mystery dinner table, little dinner party thing. I think these set of five judges even would be a really fun party. I would love to be a guest with that dinner party. Mm. So a little bit of talking about the types of books here. Yeah, I agree, Anne. The Book of Disappearance was one that I thought was for the shortlist actually, and I thought it's like with Small Boat being a really for these times. I think the Book of Disappearance is so vital as well. I think it's such a bold book just to look at everything that's going on, the barrel of the gun, and challenge. No, I think it's so. I think it's such a brilliant piece of writing. I'm really impressed by it. And I think that's the telling. If Solenoid and Book of Disappearance are on the long list, but not the short list, you know, this is, I think, a very strong. So yeah, we shall see. We're getting closer. Is for what they think is going to win in the chat. But I think interestingly, with this set of 6 books, there is a through line. Books, there is some connective tissue, I think, between the 6 books, but I don't think it's in quite the same way that we for some of the other sometimes where there's very definitely we're looking at loss in a. I think these 6 books there is a connective tissue, but it's not quite as immediately as maybe previous years, and I think that's quite exciting because I think that shows that these books all in their own way. There's always something really specific to all of them that has. Yes, reading bits first. This is. I'm now wondering if I've made a mistake for the live stream, and it's going to be like 10:45 that they. I hope it's not that late. They seem to have moved through the first couple of sort of readings quite quickly. We currently have Peter Serafinowicz, who I love. Very good comedian, favorite. This is fun. I like how much effort they've got giving the books the show their own sort of showcases. Really, that's very good. I love Peter Serafinowicz. I was quoting the Bon 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 thing the other day as well. The sort of Brian Butterfield, what's his name? Something like that. But we're getting closer and closer. Who our winner this year? Solenoid just magically comes in out of nowhere and wins. Sort of, just kidding. It's been here all along. But let's see what we have coming. I wonder as well, thinking about this, particularly in something like on the calculation of volume, that we will start to see every single one shortlisted or longlisted in future. I think they're releasing them in November 18th this year. Volumes 3 and 4 come out in. And I like that they're doing that. I might do a special read along on November 18th of those actually, because I think that could be quite fun. The calculation takes it, and or even if it doesn't win here, whether it just keeps on appearing year on year as well. So yeah, potentially. We'll see. We're getting closer and closer. I think we're on maybe the final reading, or second to last reading. I don't think we've had the Heart Lamp ones yet. But yeah, excited for this. I can't believe we're almost out of almost into other Booker season. Feels surreal as well. We're almost there. It doesn't quite feel right that we're there so soon. In my mind, we're still somewhere back in about February. Daisy Ruffle on the red carpet. Oh, we're about to find out what is going on. Okay, I think we're about to have a speech. It looks like it's Max Porter, who is exceptionally tall, by the way. The podium does make him look quite tall. I think he is about 6'4" or 6'5". And we're about to have... Let's all be on tenterhooks. Let's see what happens here. This is always the moment. I can see a lot of clapping. I've got the sound off. So this is this is the fun thing where I don't know actually if they've just announced the winner and everyone, or if it's just general clapping for literature. Yeah, that's the thing. I think I'm just about 6 foot. Actually, no, I did do this. I actually had a measurement, and I am 6 foot. Which, you know, most guys will say they're 6 foot when they're not. But yeah, he's an exceptionally tall man. To my area bookshop quite a few times. I've just not managed to catch him. I think I would be slightly intimidated by a man who is also someone whose books I have adored. So let's see where this ends up. Drum roll. I have not yet been to a prize ceremony like this, but I think I'm slightly terrifying, just for how much tension. And I once went to another Booker event. It wasn't the announcement, and at one point Marlon James just walked past me, and I had this really weird out of body experience of like, that's Marlon James. Very, very strange. I cannot drink at these types of, because it's dangerous. If I have had alcohol, and I am very excited about various authors. Yeah, really as well. He does look like a bouncer in a club. He's also kind of a slightly bouncerish jacket, which is maybe not helping the general look. But let's see. I feel like we are, yes, nice bouncers. He'd be sort of the type who'd look a bit stern, but then would let you in. Be a very nice evening. Let's see how this is going. I find this part of this always really interesting, where we're just gearing up for what is potentially about to happen. I feel like they often drop little hints into the speech. You know, a book this year that really tackled issues around XYZ, or really challenged this idea, and it's often it's not always as easy as that. Let's see, almost here. I feel bad with this great speech that I have spoken over most of it, so apologies, everybody. We can go back and listen to it afterwards. Let's see, any final guesses in the chat before we get our winner? For a second, I thought I was about to announce it. It just was saying Max's name. Okay, I think we're here. We're about to. Let's see, I think we're about to get it. This is very tense. They've left a lot of pauses here. I feel like we're about to get a big emotional bit. Sorry, I feel bad. There's just a lot of silence here while we just watch this thing. I think in the past it feels like it's been a bit more like, yeah, here's the winner. And I don't really want to interrupt Max Porter too much here. But let's see. We are about to get our the screen, the background of his thing has changed to the dinner table. I think we're about to get our reveal. And we have any last bets from anybody here? Oh, we have our winner, which appears to be it's Heartlamp. Okay, I am genuinely surprised. I think it's a very worthy winner, Heartlamp. This is, I mean, literally 10 minutes ago, this is the one I'd be most surprised about winning, because this is the one I've seen probably the least buzz about, and the one that is sort of to me. I mean, well played, well done to her. That is a fantastic win, and a brilliant book. But yeah, that is a real surprise. I think exactly as a few people are saying in the comments. I probably was least expecting, for several reasons. I think partly because this was a sort of a set of short stories, which, you know, typically novels tend to do a bit better, and but I mean, this would also, I think this was the first or even long listed book in Canada, the language Canada, exactly how to pronounce it. But yeah, we have our new winner, Heartlamp, by Banu Mushtaq, and translated by yeah, that has genuinely really surprised me. Maybe I should have seen that coming, in the sense that if a book like So Otherwise Divisive makes a shortlist, it's probably got a fair few people for it. Yeah, exciting, and interesting in so many ways. Completely not what I thought. Also, Max Porter is significantly taller than the people he's hugging on stage, which is yeah. Okay, that's so fascinating. Yeah, let's see what people are saying in comments. Yeah, our boat kind of intro. But yeah, Nina, exactly as it's wonderful that the first Canada writer has won, and that the winner is European. And you know, typically we've had a lot of European winners or authors be really well represented in the short lists and long lists. So this is a really really surprising win. How That's a really interesting point. Yeah, so I love what you're saying there, Amelia. Yeah, so took a bit of time to get into, but it grew on me. It's a great insight into the lives and fights of Muslim women in India. Yeah, I think there was something so brilliantly, because so much of the book is so domestic, so much very rarely leave the house. Much of the topics of the short stories are them arguing over sex, or if they go outside, they go somewhere quite locally. You know, it's a very tight focus of short stories. And so I thought explaining that around things, and I think I love what this comment here. So I believe one of the judges has a connection to India, so maybe she could explain a lot of context. I'm very aware there's probably a lot that I would have missed in the book in terms of some specific nuances or what have you, where local context would be really helpful. But I'm genuinely really surprised. Not only is the one I thought was least likely from the shortlist, but also I know when a lot of people of all 13 long-listed books, this was one of their lowest. So that's a really interesting thing for me, that for a lot of people, this was the one that they would have happily left off the long list and had something else. So interesting to see has gone on and won the whole thing. Yeah, I think as that comment says there, Al Black, I'd go back and I feel like I maybe need to now. Because that win by surprise. I was convinced we'd be seeing Small Boat, Calculation of Volume. I was convinced one of those three, just because I think those books seemed to have really garnered from people universally. Then again, the International Book Prize has been no stranger to giving it to the controversial one. I have been reading a book by recently, and their first book, Discomfort of Evening, won the International Booker, and I didn't get on with that. But maybe it's a strong favour of a book. Heartlamp really surprised, but I can see a lot of reasons why people have really loved this. There are a lot of things I thought were really special about it, just in its tight focus, the way it lives through this lens of domesticity in this really beautiful way. But yeah, that has genuinely stumped me. Yeah, literally 10 minutes before the announcement, there I was saying this is the one I'd be. I don't think it's a bad book by any means. I think it's just that the buzz around all of the other books was so different. And yeah, interesting. Let's see a few more of these comments. So Perfection robbed. Nina, I'm honestly most floored that Jack Edwards was wrong, since he's typically the winners. I have never been good at predicting these, because I realize lists are so not. I think I get drawn in by some books, and those are typical. So I'm very. I'm thinking about this for the prize I'm judging now, the Polari Prize, where there may be some books in there that I am really rooting for hard. But there we go. Such is the dream of being a book prize judge. Yeah, I'm intrigued. So this is so fun to see people's reactions to this, because I think this is probably the most divisive. So at least last year with Kairos, I think there were a fair few people who really liked it, or generally had it as their second or third favorite. Yeah, I love the point here by Amelia. For me, it was also a good lesson in how Western my reading still is. So different. Yeah, I think that's probably a big part of it, actually. Didn't connect is because it's a slightly different way of storytelling. That kind of absolves all things, that it kind of. But it's quite interesting when there's a book that really deeply challenges your way of reading. Oh gosh, what was the Bora Chung selection of short stories that was shortlisted a while back? Because I really didn't get on with it. Short stories, but hated the rest. I'm really hoping that I was like rooting for it, that I would be able to really get behind it. Cursed Bunny, thank you. And I couldn't really get the appeal, but then some I spoke to loved it, and I just couldn't quite get my head around it. Yeah, interesting. And now we've got the translator speaking. Yeah, wow, okay. So this has been a prize for everyone. I think the whole, maybe it's things, almost all the buzz I've seen has been, and particularly Big Bird, Small Boat, and Calculation, where I think those have kind of absorbed most the kind of love. Those have been a lot of people's favorites, with Leopard Skin Hat having a lot of I haven't seen as many people really sort of firing on all cylinders, but really, yeah, I'm very keen to do a reread of this now, to see as well if there's something else that has me out, because that's a point, really. I guess the judges at this point would have read all of the shortlisted books 3 times. I wonder if there's something that appears on a second or a third reading of Heartlamp that we and there's something sometimes quite special about that, whether Calculation on a second read does something new, Perfection or any of the others. Yeah. Kairos was the win-win for me, but at this point I don't think I can make any guesses anymore. I don't think I've ever been right in all of the years that I followed the Booker. I think they've always done something that's kind of thrown me, whether it's a really like a book I adored not making the shortlist, or whether it's a book winning that I didn't see coming. Has it been exactly to my taste? And that's probably helpful. Yeah, there we go. But Amelia, yes, picking up on the calculation of volume 3 from the library. No, I may try and attempt it in German, although I don't think my German will be for it. But yeah, I read Calculation Volume 2 recently, finished it today, which I loved. And you get volumes 3 and 4 on November 18th for the Looped Day. So yeah, but there we go. We have our winner, and we are exciting for the prize, which is a new language as both a and a winner in Canada. I need to learn how to actually say that. Can I? But what's interesting as well, if you read or kind of translator's note rather in this, they talk about the kind of looped style of language that is used, and the kind of the way that this is written in has a specific flavor that is quite difficult to translate in time. So I also wonder if there's an extra job of the translator in this. This is a prize as much for the book itself as for its translation, and so maybe that is a big part of it. I agree with Made You Book here, absolutely. So overall, I'm super impressed with the international Booker this year. So many good reads. I certainly hope the Booker is just as good. I think the Booker has a lot of pressure. Has quite a high bar to live up to. If the Booker long list is anything as good as this this international Booker long list has been, then I think we've got something really special here. Let's see other comments as well. So Joseph, I wish I was curious or driven enough to reread books I disliked, but I can't do Heartlamp again. Fair. I think it was interesting when people were doing their rankings. I saw Heartlamp in a lot of but Rudy, I started Go Went Gone by but abandon it, starting Kairos after this. Predictions for the Booker. Oh, I've been trying to think about this recently because I've been trying to do my own predictions, and I'm finding it really hard this year to know what like feels like the kind of flavor of something new and exciting that might do it. I would quite like to see Anne Tyler there because I think 3 days in June would be good. I'd love to see Sean Hewitt with Open Heaven. I also think I just read A Room Above a Shop by Anthony Shapland, which I thought was exquisite. I don't know how it does so much in about 100 pages. Atlas is a really great shout. Yeah, really. Thank you. By Rupert Duster as well. Amelia, I'm happy because I knew this year because there wasn't a single book I hated on the list. The judges didn't. I agree. I think this is a really strong long list. Yeah, Amelia does not want Anne Tyler on the Booker long list. Fair. I don't like Anne Tyler. I always think I won't enjoy her as much as I do, and then I read the book and I'm like, oh. Rudy, yeah, The Room, yeah, so Room Above a Shop, I think it is. I thought was so exquisite. I finished it the other day. It's going to be in my roundup, I think, but so special. And it's told almost that kind of Claire Keegan style of very quiet, removed, spare storytelling. I think it's fantastic. I have no other. What other Booker predictions are there? What's good? Alan Hollingworth thought Our Evenings was pretty good. I have to have released. Who even knows? But either way, we have our international winner. That is Heartlamp Mushtaq, and translated by Diba Bashti. And also just and other stories, the press get some extra love. They are a really special publisher, I think. They were behind the Eva Baltazar trilogy as well, or triptych. I think they've published some exceptional work. They publish praise in my books. Rudy saying my wish list on Amazon is probably around £500. of just books. I get that. There's a lot going around. There are so many, and I feel a little bit like I'm drowning. Is not only with books that I've already got arcs for that I should really read at some point soon. I've also obviously got my prize judging. Yeah. So yeah. Given how wrong I was about the book, maybe take my opinion with a pinch of salt. I would love to see some quite daring books, even though it's a second in a series. To see Emma McBride's the name of which escapes me. Is it In a Strange City? No, that's me. It's something. It's got city in the title. Emma loved. I just love Emma McBride. I would also really love some other books. I'd love to see, Sean Hewitt. I'd love to see in there. I think Room Above a Shop definitely would be in there for me. A lot of gay men and yearning in the books want to see in there, but that's most. But yeah, there we go. I'll think about some more. I'll probably put out a video at some point, either end of this month or early, with my ideas for this year's book. And Amelia, can't wait for when you are allowed to talk about my book about your book prize judging. Weird. It's a weird thing to do, book prize judging. I'm finding, but I think particularly because I'm so used to it ends up being spoken about on my channel in some way. It's so weird that I haven't even spoken to the other judges yet about these books because we're still in. Currently, my thoughts about a lot of these books are, and I can't really talk to anyone about them. And it's not a spoiler to say there are some that I've enjoyed less. Is natural with receiving 60 books and trying to go through them, but I can't currently talk about why I didn't like those books, and I don't know if someone else is gonna be like, wow, this book really changed. Absolutely hating its very existence. So I don't feel like that really about any of the books on that list, but it's to see the sort of a book coming up and really having to sort of wrangle with book that I love to the other judges. What would I say? And if I would dislike of another book, I say. But yes, there we go. And fingers crossed, some of our predictions are in there. Book Queen, I love this. Yes, I didn't think Heartlamp had a chance, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Any of them, yeah. I think that's the thing. I think Heartlamp surprised me, not only obviously just now with the win, but I think going into it, I thought that I sometimes struggle with short stories, sort of collections, and how I would take to this, but there's something about it that did kind of capture my attention. I did the tight focus, this kind of domestic scene, the domestic scenes that were stories. So yeah, will at some point reread this. I think book price charging to do, but yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I think it's interesting to see someone as well who's been writing for a while, really established author in her own country, getting a prize internationally, written over such a long period of time. In many ways, I wonder if Banu Mushtaq, whether it feels almost she's sort of forgotten some of these short stories that she's written. This was such a long time ago. I think 20 years in some cases for some of these short stories. There we go. I'm going to try and calm down enough to go. But have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you, or wonderful afternoon, or wonderful morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining me, as per usual. We have a winner, but I do urge you, if you've not read any others of the, to give them a try. I think it's a really strong long list, and an especially strong shortlist. So I think if any of the books do sound like they're of interest to you, do check. Well done. have a great evening. Take care. Thank you for joining me again. And I hope you have a lovely time. Speak to you all very, very soon. Apologies that I've been so dark on camera. I can't see myself. I literally could only see a picture of myself topless from when I was setting up a shoot. Terrified that everyone was able to see the entire time. So I'm glad that you've been able to see me with a shirt on. I think that's best for everyone involved. And that it's not just a still frame of me topless staring down at my laptop looking, which is what the still image is that I've had the entire time. Or afternoon or morning. Speak to you all very soon, and thank you again for joining me. Take care.